so far the MVP of the competition, probably.
And the MVP of the EuroLeague?
To me, right now, as of now, definitely yes. Baldwin absence has been a big factor. There's no question. Speaking with Lorenzo, I know how good he is, but also how well they like to play together. If you feel that his team needed, he might try, and he will be there. He's not shying away from taking shots because he has personality and he has a great feeling of Williams Goss once again contributed to the team's success, was underrated, not to mention it enough.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of EurohooPOD, EuroHoop's official podcast. As always, I'm Antonis Stroggylakis, and as always I'm joined by my great colleague Cesare Milanti. Buonasera Cesare.
Buonasera, Kalispera, welcome back everybody.
And I will also have to say buonasera to our guest today, because our guest hails from Italy as Cesare does. Today we have with us, to put it simply, the most successful coach on an international level of the last, let's say, 20 years, a world champion, four-time EuroBasket winner, silver and bronze medal winner in the Olympic Games with the Spanish national team, a EuroLeague veteran coach, a former Eurocup winner, many titles in Spain, and one of the most decorated and acclaimed coaches around the globe, I would say. And I forgot to say that, and also an NBA champion, of course, as an assistant. Sergio Scariolo, welcome, coach. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you. Thank you guys for hosting me. Hi.
And we have Coach Sergio Scariolo with us to talk in the aftermath of the EuroLeague playoffs that were completed Wednesday, with 3 Game 5s taking place and 2 teams winning on the road in Game 5 for the first time ever. Coach, the way I see it, in my opinion, these were probably the best EuroLeague playoffs ever. Do you share that sentiment?
Well, you might say that this has been the most competitive, the most fought. Not necessarily the highest quality in terms of basketball, but for sure with an unbelievable intensity and equality, unpredictableness until the very end. I think from the spectator point of view, from the fans' point of view, especially from the fans of those teams' point of view, it has been amazing, definitely. Then when when the tension is there, when the award at stake, it's so big. Probably basketball is not always fluid. You can enjoy good plays, and you can at times appreciate more tough defenses. But overall, for sure, it's been an amazing playoffs, definitely.
From a coach's viewpoint, which were the most interesting series to watch?
Well, I think the 3 which went to Game 5. I mean, it's hard to pick a one. For sure, the Panathinaikos Maccabi has a little bit more of a drama about how it started. The other 2 have been more about the basketball considerations, what was going on, which player were stepping up, which player were struggling. But I mean, overall, the 3 series have been great, and it was really fun to watch. Definitely with 2 road wins in Game 5, which we were not absolutely accustomed to see. But listen, barriers are there to be broken, and now we know that it's possible. Until it was very, 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 very rare that in a competition, just the road wins in Game 5 or Game 7 in case of Game 7 City were not there in every competition. Probably EuroLeague was the only one left where the deciding game was not up to the the visiting team for so many games in a row.
And we would like to go, coach, a little bit series by series, starting from the one that finished earlier because Real Madrid swept Baskonia. What do you think was the key of this series, as as a coach point of view?
Oh, I think Baskonia did an amazing effort to get there. They have been paying it in the Spanish league probably because they are almost out of the playoff. I mean, for their roster, he did an unbelievable effort, and probably they ran a little bit out of gas at the end. I mean, they did an effort they went through a tough loss in the first game of the play-in. They recovered. They had a huge win in the second game. So I think they were probably a little bit out of gas in that series, especially the first two games. Then the third game they competed really hard. They had chances, but probably they missed a little bit of energy to present a better defensive version of themselves and to try to prevent Real Madrid from a high scoring game, which actually happened in game 3.
You talked about the lack of energy that Baskonia had, of course, having such a tiredful seasons, I would say, and considering how impactful was Chima Moneke all throughout the season for them, especially in that point of view, the energy that he brought to the court, the fact that he wasn't there for injury, of course, do you think was a premier factor for them?
Definitely. Moneke has been one of my candidates for first or second top 5 players in 4 position. He has been great. It brought energy. It brought. It was unpredictable. He could take it to the rim. He had some big shots too. I think Baskonia without Moneke was a different team, and I think they were really up to the very last drop of their sweat, of their energies, of their possibilities. Without him, they did an unbelievable effort to get to the playoffs. And then, of course, when you play a team like Real Madrid, which have player like, for example, Yabusele, the 4 position, or can play with Deck the 4 as well. So then it becomes tough. But honestly, I think that who makes the top 8 should be considered the winner overall, especially if it's Baskonia, which is of course not one of the top 4 or 5 budgets in the competition.
Yes.
Coach, you talked about the more bodies that Baskonia had in the 4 position, and this has made it even more difficult for Baskonia in the absence of Chima Moneke. But I want to talk about Facundo Campazzo. Facundo Campazzo had a spectacular start in the season. Then his performances dropped a bit, and then he re-emerges in the playoffs as the deciding factor for Real Madrid. Was Campazzo the missing piece that Real Madrid needed to seem that unstoppable? Because they won the EuroLeague last year, but before they went to the Final Four, they weren't this kind of dominant team that they seem they can destroy everyone.
Well, first of all, there is no player who can be at top of this shape from the beginning to the end. I mean, this is humanly impossible. That's never happened in any competition. So I think Campazzo picked up the right time to relax a little bit and to breathe a little bit. And as every winning player is back at his peak at the right time, and definitely was a tremendous addition for his team. The thing it is that not only about his value, but about his knowledge of the environment, of the team, of the teammates, of the system, and vice versa. So I think it was not just put let's say, a great player in, like, for example, Kendrick Nunn for Panathinaikos, which was an unbelievable presence and rookie in a way for EuroLeague competition. Campazzo is not a rookie, came back, but I think it made a difference, the fact that he took so little time to readjust to his former team and to his former teammates and vice versa.
Coach, you are a coach, not a player, but you gave me a pretty good pass to move to the Panathinaikos Maccabi series, because ultimately this was all about Kendrick Nunn in the end, and the huge performances he had, especially in Game 4 and in Game 5. He averaged 19.2 points in the series. He shot the ball spectacularly, 51% from the three-point line. And this guy, as you said, he's a rookie. He played in the EuroLeague for the first time in his career. He was called to lead the club, and in a situation under pressure, because Panathinaikos needed to succeed. They really needed this. 12 years without the Final Four for this kind of team wasn't pretty. And now they broke that drought. Were you surprised to see Kendrick Nunn playing that well, being such a factor, playing like a superstar in his first season in Europe?
Well, honestly, I knew him from the NBA, and obviously his role in the NBA was different. That's out of question. I thought it was quite positive that he was going to have an impact. Honestly, I don't think neither myself nor anyone could expect such as a strong and decisive impact on the competition, because I think it was really during, not only in the playoff, but during most of the regular season, so impactful, so good in clutch situations, especially making big shots, being a good presence defensively as well. I mean, he proved that he's an absolutely top level player. Of course, he started the series struggling a little bit, but he recovered himself and got back at this highest level at the end of the series. I would say that those shots he made at the end of Game 5 were for sure the difference between winning or losing. Probably somebody else like Sloukas could have, taken those and maybe made those, but he made them. So you got to give him credit and definitely celebrate him like so far the MVP of the competition, probably.
And the MVP of the EuroLeague?
To me, right now, as of now,
yeah,
definitely yes. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I can see the logic in that. I mean, being so decisive in this kind of games, yeah, Kendrick Nunn, spectacular to watch, amazing overall.
Yeah,
especially because he was a great contributor to a winning team. I mean, you got to take it, like it or not, when somebody drives his team to a win and make it possible for his team to win, thanks to his own personal high-level contribution, you got to consider him a little bit higher than many other great players who couldn't really be the factor of a team win for their teams.
Connecting to the thing that you last said, Coach, Wade Baldwin couldn't be there for Maccabi to try help them get back to the Final Four. It was a huge factor in the play-in against Baskonia. It was an important factor in Game 1 in Oaxaca, of course. But then that hamstring injury, of course, forced him to be ruled out. And considering that his backcourt partner, you know him pretty well. You won a EuroBasket with him, with Lorenzo Brown. Do you think that not having Wade got way too much attention, of course, on Lorenzo, and that became ultimately the problem for Maccabi going on and losing in Game 4 and Game 5?
Well, honestly, definitely Baldwin absence has been a big factor. There's no question. He was another legitimate candidate to the MVP, if you want to take it that way. Yeah. His Game 1 was huge. He's a great player, and he looks like he made one big step forward in terms of maturing this year. Speaking with Lorenzo, I know how good he is, but also how well they like to play together, and how big of a backcourt they form. Right. Said that, I think that Di Bartolomeo and Vlad did an awesome job. I mean, probably few people would expect them to step up that way, and to, I wouldn't say make it for Baldwin, or make not people not feel is him not be there on the floor, but for sure they did a great job, and they were there. I mean, they were. You would be a little bit unfair to them if you say that with Baldwin, Maccabi would have won. It's a possibility, but I was admired sincerely of how, of course, about Lorenzo. So had a great series. He's a great player. Definitely is a great player, and beside that, an excellent person too. So I'm glad about him for everybody to recognize him as a high level player. But once again, you got to give credit to Di Bartolomeo and Vlad, because they did an outstanding job.
Yeah, huge shots. Yeah.
Returning to Nunn, coach, I would also like your opinion on this. We also have to give credit, I believe, to Ergin Ataman for putting him in the right positions, of course, building a system around him in which he can thrive, he can fully unfold his talent. And we've seen NBA players through the years, I won't mention any names, struggling to get to the EuroLeague. They have played a lot in the NBA, they have had quality seasons in the NBA, but once they step in the EuroLeague, for one reason or another, they face problems. As a coach, how do you help this kind of players adjust and trying to get the maximum of them in the European level? The way that Ergin Ataman, for example, did with Kendrick Nunn.
Well, I think the way Ergin has been playing with his teams historically fits perfectly with a pick and roll or an ISO player like Nunn. So that is very as simple as that. And then you gotta, do a serious job in adjusting and understanding. You need to be humble and to understand that it's not easy to play in EuroLeague at all. Like sometimes American players take a few weeks or month or even a season to understand where they are and how tough it is. Honestly, I think Nunn has been one of the quickest players at that level. I would say at the MVP level to adjust to EuroLeague coming straight from the NBA. Is really, really hard to see someone being immediately so decisive and so difference making like he was. For some player, normally second year is always better, but most of the player start to really perform at their level, not in the first season. Maybe they can show signs of that, but probably they need some time. I mean, but listen, there are players who are intelligent, who are humble, who understand where they are. I make an example. For example, this Shemi Ojeleye, who had a very good first season, an excellent second season, and I expect him to be at a top player, definitely a top player next season. He never played in FIBA basketball that far. So there are a few ones who takes a little bit more, some more takes a little bit less. None for sure takes as less as anyone in being so impactful in the competition.
Samuel Ojeleye, by the way, who was also rewarded now by Valencia with a contract extension. He retains equality in his game after that season with Virtus.
And
Shemi,
go coach.
Yeah.
No. Just say that Shemi is a very serious professional. high-level player because he can do many things. He's a player who is really, really effective defensively. He can rebound. He can shoot the ball. He's very low maintenance. He's a very, very serious professional, great worker, great teammate. One of those players who perfectly fits in Europe because they're not just talented, but they are also able to, to find their spot and to understand their role quite easily and quite fast.
And to close this off with Panama Maccabi, we have seen other interesting key points of the series, like the matchup between Lesort and Nebo, the impact of Sloukas once again. But I wanted to touch with you, Coach, about Papepetrou, because honestly speaking, also because of injuries, he hasn't had the best of seasons, of course. But I think that the defense he had, the defensive effort he had on Bonzi Colson was an important factor, and also the shots he made in Game 2 and Game 4 were honestly a huge factor for Ataman's team. What do you think about his performances, and also how difficult it is for a player to have struggling season, and then once the playoffs arrive, we saw that with Shaq McKissic. We will talk about it as well later. But how difficult it is, as a coach perspective, to see that in a player.
Well, I agree. Papepetrou was another huge factor. I mean, I think he got better after his Partizan year, even if it was not necessarily a super season, but I think he's more solid, more consistent, more really down to what the team needs in that specific moment from him, without doing any of those extra things which sometimes were not necessarily the right ones he was used to do before. And you're right, you step up at the right time, and probably he found his chances playing a little bit more at the 4 position because of Juan Hernan Gomez's injury. But his answer was great. I mean, he could really, really say, "I'm here" when Aberdeen call his number. And I mean, he's an experienced player. He's a talented player. He understood that in that team, this is what they needed him to do, and he was there. He was right there at the right time of the competition, getting advantage maybe of a teammate injury. But this is how our business is, how our life is. When the train go by, you gotta jump in and take it.
Yeah, really strong series from Papepetrou. I mean, 11 out of 19 3-pointers from Game 2 to Game 5 don't lie at all. Having these numbers in the playoffs is difference-making stuff. But let's move now to the other to Wednesday's games, to the series that were decided on Wednesday, beginning from Monaco and Fenerbahce becomes the first team ever the first visiting team ever that wins a Game 5 on the road to advance to the Final Four. Coach, what was the key of this series, except from Nick Boldiggle, as his teammates like to call him, Calathes, on both ends, not only about his defense or Mike James, and these unbelievable shots he made in Game 5?
Well, honestly, I think probably that's a series which could have gone either way until the very end, more than anyone else, because Monaco could have won the game, and nobody could have said anything about that, because both teams were really, really separated from nothing, from a long rebound, a jump ball which is thrown this way instead of that way. But I agree, Nick Calathes had an unbelievable Game 5, and he was great on James, but he was also responding there when his man was trying to to step on basically Wilbekin most of the time when he was coming off the screen to try to prevent him from shooting. And Wilbekin was good in throwing the ball ahead and returning the ball to Calathes. He was there, feet on the floor. Monaco decided not to rotate, and that's a legitimate decision. I mean, you can. Afterwards, everybody's good, right? In saying
everyone is done by the result.
Exactly. That's the Monday morning wizards, right? So, but that class, that's experience, that guts, that character, that winning mentality. And I will also underline something else. Those rebounds he was catching, those long rebounds, those loose balls, he had such as a great feeling for where the ball was going to bounce, that he was going to get those extra possession for his teams.
And Fenerbahce is the kind of team, coach, that has a lot of weapons, really, like truly speaking. You can't really see a player dragging Fener, while we could see that happening, for example, in Monaco with Mike James. So I wanted to ask you about the impact that Jasikevičius had on this team. So early in his coaching career, already making to the Final Four multiple times with 3 different teams. And do you think that this Fener team is probably the best equipped team in terms of this distribution of talent for a head coach like Šarūnas Jasikevičius?
Well, I think Saras did a great job. Definitely, I think he found a way to balance a little bit what was probably still a little bit on the way to be ordered by Dimitri. I mean, there was a lot of talent over there, but the roles were defined yet. There were a few injuries not more than a few injuries at the beginning. So I think that the process had started, but Saras was great in terms of clarifying roles once everybody was more or less healthy, and in making decisions about sometimes even tough decisions like have high level players sit on the bench and going more in the direction of 1 or 2 different players, and then changing his mind and turning back to other guys who hadn't played for a few games. So I think in terms of managing personnel, he did an outstanding job, and even in terms of keeping the team, so many players of the team motivated and ready to respond, because when sometimes you are used to be a star, and for maybe 2 games you barely touch the ball, then it's tough to step up, and in the 3rd game after that being a factor, and he could do it. I think you got to definitely give him credit, and it's true that Fenerbahce is I would say one of the top 2-3 teams in terms of how many players can score in that team. But you got to put pieces together, and you got to find a way to make them play tough on the other hand as well. And he did it.
Talking about the players who responded, I think the player who got better, mostly from being coached by Šarūnas Jasikevičius, is probably Tarik Biberovic. The guy at 21-year-old, he seems fearless to take any shot. His shooting ability and mechanics is, honestly speaking, beautiful. What do you think about that player and the trajectory that he's having with Fenerbahce, and potentially how dangerous could it be inserted in a system like the Turkish national team with a lot of weapons?
Well, this was coming from behind. I mean, this is, of course, everybody has a clear image of Game 5 where he hit shots, and I mean, there's no question that you need that kind of a performance to raise up a level in your status, right? But who knows basketball and players was expecting it, because Biberovic had been playing several games like that, especially in the Turkish league. He had already played a few top games in EuroLeague as well. I think is one of the most outstanding, let's say, still very young players in the EuroLeague. He can really, I think he get benefit from when he was playing. He was handling the ball more, even if now is handling a little bit less. Is mostly performing as a shooter. But we know that his decision making is quite good, and that ball handling he had earlier in his player career is there. I mean, for sure he will be able to use it again, and definitely in the for the national team is a great addition. I mean, he has not been a factor so far, true. So probably the next competition is going to be the one where he could have the chance to be one of the main guys. For example, Mamutoglu, who was a factor so far in the Turkish national team, is at the end of his career. That sounds like a turnover in terms of handling the responsibility to be the super shooter of the team.
Yeah, the next great shooter for Tarik Biberovic might be Tarik Biberovic for the Turkish national team, and maybe the best shooter in EuroLeague for years to come if he doesn't go to the NBA. Who knows? Coach, let's move a few hours after Monaco and Fenerbahce. Here comes Olympiacos beating Barcelona in Palau Blaugrana. And we came from a point where no visiting team had won in a Game 5. We had two teams winning that Game 5. This series, the way I was watching it, the way I see it, it wasn't decided so much in Game 5 as in that second quarter in Game 4, perhaps. Do you see that this was the turning point, perhaps?
Well, the playoffs history is full of blow-up games responded for different sign and other blow-up games. So I mean, we cannot say that teams cannot recover from that kind of losses. But in this case, they didn't. For sure, they looked like when it was time for Barcelona to feel like, okay, we are in control and we can make the last sprint to finish the game. They were like lacking a little bit of confidence, or they were lacking 3 or 4 consecutive plays to make it happen. And definitely Olympiacos probably has gained through Game 4 the confidence to be able to dominate his opponent, even if during many minutes of different game they were down in the score, and they took it out because they are a very cohesive team with many experienced players, with players who have won and who have winning mentality. Very well coached, fitting into a system, I would say more than any other team, but I wouldn't be too wrong saying that, neither. So the cohesiveness and the togetherness of the team show up really in that fourth quarter.
I was smiling before because I said before we begin the podcast, I said to Cesare that I said to him, man, it was all about the blowout in Game 4, that Barca was affected psychologically, not by the result, but the margin, the way perhaps they didn't seem confident shooting the ball. For me, it was crazy that Barcelona players were missing so many open shots in Game 5. It was as if they were lacking, as you said, this kind of confidence, this great shooting team, because Olympiacos was also missing shots, but Olympiacos, to be honest, they are not a great shooting team. Barcelona is a great shooting team, and missing so many shots, some of their stars severely underperforming, and then Olympiacos finding the solutions near the end. And Barcelona players, this is what I want to ask you. Do you think that they were perhaps too relaxed after the win in Game 3? did they think that, okay, it's not a big deal that we are losing game 4 because we have game 5 at home. There's no way we're going to lose this game.
I hate that way of saying we are going to try to win one game on the road, right? Not because it is not true. And you might be more than happy to win 1 out of 2 games in a row in this kind of a series. But because then when you win 1, then it looked like you did your job, right?
Mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished, exactly. And that, even willingly or not willingly, take a little bit of sense of urgency off the team and the players. I prefer to go game by game and focus on one game at a time and try to win it without making any consideration about the whole playoff, the couple of games. I'm not sure that happened to Barcelona because we don't have the proof of that. But it's true that when the game became so steep for them, like sometimes happened, players was like, okay, there's no point to waste energy or extra energy or to risk an injury or to do anything which might put us in a worse situation for game 5 since we have a game 5 at all, right? I'll put it that way. I mean, probably they were not feeling that okay, sometimes at 15, 18 point deficit is not the end of the world in a playoff game or in any game. So they could have probably have tried to hold their ground and not have Olympiacos go with such a huge gap. I don't know if that had an influence into their minds or their mentality for game 5, but definitely it was like not even try. And in a 5-game series, one game not tried is 20% of the whole business. So probably they regret it. In after game 5.
And to give that where credit is due, of course, Olympiacos pulled off a road winning game of the playoffs while shooting 26% from the 3-point line. Okay, of course, Barcelona shot worse. They played great defense. They make more turnovers than assists. They shoot 54% from the free throw line. According to the stat sheet, if someone doesn't watch the game, he's like, how did they win this one? It's not possible. They shouldn't win because these are numbers that you coaches point out when if a team loses, the coaches say, we couldn't have won there shooting like that. It's impossible. But here comes Olympiacos pulling off what seems impossible according to numbers. They have done this kind of stuff throughout the season in other games as well. How do they manage to do that?
Well, listen, if you hold, there is another huge number. If you hold the home team below 60 points on their court, I mean, that's
end of the story.
Exactly. I mean, they had a poor shooting night. Barcelona had an even poorer shooting night. But as you said correctly, I mean, Barcelona probably needed the 3-point shooting more than Olympiacos, which had maybe let's say a diverse way of generating a threat to your opponent.
They have learned to live with their bad shooting either way. Barcelona has
they are more used to, probably. They are more used to, and they probably have a consistency as a team and a cohesive and mutual trust also that they know that they could win a game even not shooting the ball well. And honestly, this could sound a little bit unfair, for example, towards Papanikolaou, because I think that after the injury, after missing basically the whole series, he was a factor, and you got to give him a lot of credit from a different perspective. But at the same time, it's true that there is no team like Olympiacos, which give you the image of a unit where the bad shooting night of a player or another one is probably doing less damage than in different teams, in other teams.
And last year in Kaunas, of course, Olympiacos went one Sergio Llull's mandarina away from winning the title. Olympiacos had the EuroLeague MVP in Sasha Vezenkov, the likely EuroLeague Final Four MVP if Olympiacos won in Sasha Vezenkov, and a veteran, experienced playmaker like Kostas Sloukas. They both leave in the summer, and Georgios Bartzokas still made this team a Final Four team for the third consecutive season. Were you surprised throughout the season to see the growth that Olympiacos had in the second part of the EuroLeague here? And what do you think were the most important adjustment that he had to make, considering that he lost probably the two of his most important players in the summer? That's tough.
Well, I think that it took time, and obviously, as everybody expected, but you got to give Georgios and the team a lot of credit, because when you lose Vezenkov and you think that you basically initially incorporate Stigma and handle a much bigger role to Peters, and then you see that maybe you are not there yet about the position, but definitely Petrushev helped them a lot, and incorporating a play like that was a big factor. But once again, you had to put him into the team and inside the team and give him a role, and try to find a way to use him without any say negative side effect. And I think that the way Williams Goss once again contributed to the team's success was underrated, not to mention it enough, but another factor, because this is a player who can maybe not be so fun to watch or nice to watch from the spectator point of view, but from the team usefulness and from the team effectiveness and the probability to win, he's huge. He has been effective in every team he has been playing. So you got to give him credit. Said that, once again, kudo to Georgios Bartzokas, because once again he proved that he can make his team play together. Probably is the team who have been playing less pick and roll among the all the teams who were playing, for sure, among the teams who are playing that semifinal is going to be quite interesting, because probably there are more stuff than just pick and roll as a main action of the team for team offenses in Real Madrid Olympiacos. The other one is a little bit more guard oriented and pick oriented, but it's going to be a nice revenge for Olympiacos. I mean, they had the game in their hands, as you said before, but when Ulis is on the floor, you have always to expect something weird or amazing to happen, and the case again, it happened.
Yeah. Players decide. Coaches decide the plans, but players will decide the games if they want to.
Definitely.
To conclude our discussion about the playoffs, Coach, which has been greatly illuminating, I would like to ask you something about Ricky Rubio's return to the EuroLeague and the playoffs. He plays in the EuroLeague after playing his last NBA game in April 2023. And what do you think about his comeback? He struggled against Olympiacos. He had problems making shots. He was a big factor on defense. He was maybe the best defensive player of Barcelona in some moments, especially in Game 5. He was everywhere on the floor. He contributed steals, he contributed rebounds, assists, but he couldn't make shots. What do you think was I won't say problem or issue, but why do you think that Ricky Rubio perhaps didn't perform the way some would have expected of him, even despite his absence? Because let's face it, Ricky Rubio is Ricky Rubio. He's one of the best.
But honestly, I think it's wrong to expect Ricky to step up and to take many shots and to make all of them. He has never been a shooter. He could make shots. He could make shots because
game one. He almost turned the game around with his shooting in game one.
Yeah. It might happen. But his strengths are others. I mean, his leadership, his playmaking, his decision making, his defensive ability. Then, of course, he made shots. I remember last game we played together in a national team in summer. We played a couple of games in the window, but it was just 2 games after 2 years out. Against US team, he bet 30 points or something like that, making big shot. But this is not his game. I mean, if he feels that his team needed, he might try, and he will be there. He's not shying away from taking shots because he has personality and he has a great feeling of what the team needs in any specific moment. But I mean, he's a shot creator. He's creating shot for others, and then he will get advantage of the fact that the other guys are making shots and are drawing the attention and the pressure of the defense on them to have a little bit more of a time and space to take his own shot. So I honestly don't. I think his impact on Game 5 was unbelievable in terms of steals, in terms of pushing the ball, in terms of creating whatever Barcelona was able to throw on the floor. But then, of course, in a team like that, other people are supposed to
make the shots. Yeah,
the shot makers. Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking about perhaps not being aggressive, maybe not taking the initiative. Maybe that was also the case for him, that he needed to do that.
He's not an ISO player. I mean, everybody should know well players in order to expect from them what they really can do. Ricky is not an ISO player. Ricky can, as I said, can make shot and even more. In that team coming in at that point of the season, with the team already built, with already structured with other guards. I mean, it's difficult to find a way to step in, not to hurt the team balance, at the same time being impactful and decisive. I think he has been extremely useful for Barcelona from many standpoint, but I don't think is within Ricky. I mean, it's not into his mentality to come in and to take 15 shots. This is not his game, and especially in a situation like that.
Coach, to go towards the end of well-detailed conversations about the final stretch of the season in the EuroLeague, we are exactly 2 weeks away from the most anticipated weekend of the season. 2 different semifinals, one rematch from last year's final, one semifinal in which both teams are coming back to the Final Four after a lot of years. So we want to ask you, as a coach and as a fan of basketball for so many years, of course, what do you want and what do you hope to see in Berlin from these 2 matchups?
And the tournament in general.
Yeah, well, first of all, I would love to see a great fans frame where nothing bad happened, because we know that the situation is a little bit risky, and it's going to be extremely important for basketball that that weekend, that Final Four, where basically all basketball world, including huge part of the NBA, is projected over Europe and over Berlin and over those games, those courts. I would really desire and wish basketball that everything goes smooth from the security, the fun for fans, and the mutual respect point of view. Said that, I mean, what can I say? 4 great teams, obviously the best teams in the competition, even if at least 3 more made almost the same hustle and would deserve at least a little bit less, just a little bit less than 3 of them to be there. That's why I said that you cannot consider these teams losing teams in a way, even they lost the games. Different styles, different way of playing, quite different style between, the 2 semifinals. But at the end of the game, at the end of the day, players will be the ones who will make the decision on the floor and will be able to make the right action, which are probably going to be baskets, but not necessarily not, because we have seen many competitions decided by the block shot, for example, or many competitions decided from an offensive rebound or from a steal. So let's enjoy them and hopefully let's see a great season finish in the well expected from everyone way.
Yeah. Coach, thank you so much for being here with us, for sharing your thoughts, for giving us your analysis on the EuroLeague playoffs. As I said, was really illuminating. It was always interesting to hear you talking about basketball. We really appreciate it.
Guys. Take care.
Grazie.
And thank you, Cesare, as well. And to our viewers for watching our show, for listening to our show. You can find us, as always, on YouTube, on Spotify, on Apple, and other platforms. Cesare, what do you think? Can we promise 2 episodes until the Final Four?
We can
promise. Okay. Tune in, so guys and girls, for we can at least. Cesare says 2 more episodes, 2 more EurohooPOD episodes until the Final Four in Berlin in 2 weeks from now. On May 24, the tournament begins with the game between Panathinaikos and Fenerbahce, and then the rematch of last season's final, Olympiacos against Real Madrid. Cesare, farewell to all of you.
Antonis.
See you next week, and take care and good luck, everyone. Farewell.
Take care. Peace.